Hey, you want to create dramatic, edgy portraits like this? All you need is one light, and today I'm going to discuss how I used one light in a recent photo shoot to create these images. In some cases, I just used a small video light, just a constant light source. In other cases, I used a bare speed light, unmodified, just a cheap old flash to create the looks I'm going to show you. I'm going to discuss the setups, look at the images, and talk about the posing. And towards the end, maybe I'll even pick out a few of my personal favorites. So let's go ahead and jump into Lightroom and take a look. Okay, first things first, let's talk about why I put this shoot together in the first place. And it was basically, I asked Gianna to come over. I wanted to do some simple tutorial examples for you guys. And I did some test shots with my Bronica film camera. And I basically, the main thing that I like to do when I'm putting a shoot like this together is just shoot freestyle. And that's what this was. So, you know, if I can get some practical work done and do it really quick, like in an hour or so, and then get some artistic stuff and some experimental stuff going, then it's a good day. All right, so let's talk about the specs. As far as lighting goes, we used a single 2x2 constant light. That's a small octagonal softbox for some of the scenes, and for others I just used, like I said before, a single unmodified speed light. In this case, I was using just an old Yongnuo YN560 version 4, I guess it is. The camera was a Sony Alpha 7 III, or whatever they call it, the A7 Mark III. Lenses, and that's a full frame. Lenses, that was the Sony 85mm 1.4 G Master, and the Zeiss FE 24 to 70mm f4. All right, now I wrote a little ebook about this shoot, and where I get into a lot more detail, and I'm able to show pictures in the ebook that I really can't show here on YouTube. YouTube has rules about what you can show in your videos. But I'll just jump into the ebook right here, and I'll show you that this is the first setup. As you can see, it's that one little light. I use it for video sometimes, you know, little product shots and things like that. But I just popped this up and I use that, and I draped this sort of leopard patterned fabric here and a satiny red, nothing special, and we just got rolling. This is a good shot, and I think it's one that stood out to both me and Gianna. But it didn't start here. I'm going to show you, I show you all the stuff, and I'm going to show you what this looked like to begin with. We're going to go back to first test shot. We'd done some other shots. Like I said, we did some tutorial stuff, but I said, okay, well, now it's time to do the creative stuff and just see what we come up with. And so this was a test shot, and as you can see here, sort of in the realm of what we were eventually going to do. Still trying to find my way here. The post-processing has a lot to do with the success of these images, and that happens a lot, you know. I mean, these days with digital, everybody post-processes their images to some extent, and you know, more often than not, people are always looking for those presets that are just going to turn their images from blah to amazing works of art, right? I see those things, those little ads pop up in my Instagram and my YouTube and Facebook all the time. Well, you can make these little presets yourself, and that's what I did here. I make my own for the most part. If you can mess around with these little sliders, then I think you can get this done. Just say, you find something you like, save it as a preset. If not, yeah, you can always buy some. All right, so right now I'm going to go ahead and filter these things out to the final selections. And out of, I think, about 311 just quick, in succession photos, I ended up with 109 for this set. And here's the setup again. I just had her sitting right here, and she just kind of sat back, and I told her to be conscious of the top part of this futon. I didn't want all of this stuff up here in the shot, so I like I said, I told her to be conscious of this as a cropping point a framing point where I am just going to keep her in here. And so she was good about that. Here I'm shooting with the 85mm at f2.8. Even with that constant light, I had it at 1/250th of a second. So here we go. Just messing around, just trying to find something. And nothing super great. That's kind of cool, you know, with that lighting. Now what I did for this shot is I just pulled that leopard pattern fabric. It's a throw, and I just threw it onto this coffee table, and we decided to do some shots here. Again, I'm still using that little round softbox constant light, and that's all I'm using at this point. So Gianna selected an interesting top, black heels, an antique looking necklace, and this gave her an overall, I guess, like a performer look, like somebody who works in a carnival or a circus or something, just somebody in that kind of entertainment. And you know, when it started coming together, I just kind of I imagined sort of some other era, right? And I also told her that I wanted to shoot this in kind of a voyeuristic style. All right, so these are the pictures that we came up with. And you can see here, again, post-processing comes into play here, because even here, I've added a vignette, made it a little more, I wanted it a little more claustrophobic. By the way, this background here, just to show you, again, that's this right here. So I am shooting in this direction. All right, I'm shooting from the corner of the room over here on the side of this futon. I'm shooting in this direction, this way. And I've placed some light stands and some other gear, you know, like a tripod or whatever, to shoot through to give us this look coming up. This right here, you see all this stuff right here. I placed this right in front of the camera so I could sort of get this effect. And you can see the voyeur exhibitionist relationship here that we're trying to convey. And over here, I've snuck in part of the other side of the room just to get some, so it's just not as kind of like as claustrophobic as this. So you've got some room here now. And from here, all I'm doing is using some different post-processing. These are, you know, I'm using color now instead of black and white. So we have a different look here. She is just playing the character that we're talking about. Maybe backstage or in, you know, on the other side of the tent if you work in a circus or whatever. It's just a very loose sort of idea that, you know, she got into, and she knew how to pull it off. And so, all right, so here's a change up in the post-processing again. And this time, instead of a black vignette, I'm using a white. And I'm sort of thinking of, you know, those old-timey photos, you know. And this really works, I think. All right, so one thing to note is I had bumped the ISO up to 800, still using the 85mm f2.8 in this case, and 1/500th of a second. I'm not afraid of getting some grain and even, you know, or some noise, and even adding some in post, because, you know, that's basically the look I wanted. I didn't want some super clean digital look. Now we're really taking that to the next level here, and these are inspired by Julia Gorton. You can find her. She's got a really great Instagram account, Julia Gorton No Wave. Link that in the description below. But these were inspired by her photography, just a very rock and roll sort of punk look, and just a lot of her pictures were taken on Polaroid and on small cameras way back in the 70s, mid 70s, something like that, back in New York. And so she's, you know, she was into that scene, and she took a lot of those photos anyway. So her photos kind of, I kind of played off of that for this look. Most of the effect is happening in post. Again, this is still ISO 800, 85mm lens at f2.8, 1/500th of a second. And I just really just built up the contrast here in Lightroom to get these effects. Some of these are very, very punk rock, very rock and roll. It's got an aggressive feel to them. Okay, you've probably seen this in several of my videos and my ebooks where I talk about how to set up this shot. And this is a bare flash pointed straight down. I usually have the subject on a, you know, an interesting looking floor, wood floor maybe. Not really, I don't like that standard carpet. So I took that satin, that red piece of satin, and I threw it down, and I had Gianna position her head over here, feet down here, and I gave her the usual instructions about how this, the character of this type of shot. I guess one way to put the direction that I give is I prompt the model with something to internalize, and I'm telling her to, to express it externally. And it's usually something along the lines of, it varies, but in this case, she knew what to do. She knew what I was going for. And this is what we get. Now that I'm using flash, I bring that ISO to 100. I'm using the wider lens for this, but I'm still using, in this case, I'm using it at 70 millimeters. And that's, I was talking about the Zeiss 24-70. I'm using it at 70 here, f4, and that's 1/200th of a second. So I'm getting it pretty close to the flash sync speed right there. Now, I take the shot, and these shots are eventually post-processed with, I believe I'm using a personal recipe of mine that I call B-movie. It's in a set of presets that I developed called Vendetta, and I think this is B-movie. So as you can see, I also add a little bit of vignette in these shots because I want them to look a little claustrophobic. All right, I really like these. These are some of my favorites. It's the same shot. The flash is still where it was before, but I've positioned myself. The point of view is basically close to the floor, as you can see. I like this right here where the fingers are in focus, and then it just fades out, blurs out that way. This is pretty nice. All right, this last and final set, all I did was point the flash up, and it's coming in more from the side, essentially. So I'm just going to have Gianna here, and we're just going to try different poses, and I'm going to use a little bit of this fireplace background so that we can get something a little different. So we've got some atmosphere going on here. And so I've got the flash pointed this way. She's going to be in this general area, and we're going to go with it. All character driven again, and we're just inventing character stuff on the spot. So this was what we came up with. We just changed outfits here and rolled with it, and it just looks, I think it looks really cool. Again, here we've got the atmosphere. We've got Gianna playing her role. She's got these cool gloves on, and this cool top, and she's still wearing the shoes. Look at that. I mean, that's just kind of makes you wonder what's going on, and that's what I just love pictures like that where you're asking that question, and as you can see here, this is not, this noise here is not from the camera. This is all just texture and stuff that's, that you can dial in with Lightroom. Just add some noise. So I'll just run through a few of these. That one is really cool. I really, really like this one. Then we move to the floor again. So the lighting has changed from the straight up and down to that sideways thing, and I'm just angling it at this point just to kind of hit her from the I guess about 45 degrees from where she is. I think I'm using the Vendetta B-movie preset that I came up with some time ago. I'm using that here. I just like that preset, and I'll tweak it. Remember this about presets. The preset that you use should not be used just as is. You should tweak it. You should make adjustments because a preset isn't going to work. It might work for a set of pictures, but it won't work for all of those images exactly the same way or as you'd like it to. So you might want to make adjustments. Anyway, so these go, again, very dramatic. And just looking at this right here, look at the way that the light shines. That is B-movie, isn't it? So in a way, it's glamorous. In a way, it's dangerous. So yeah, these are necessarily going to be censored for YouTube. So if you do want to see all of the pictures as they were meant to be shown, you can check out this photoshoot notebook. It's a little PDF, a little ebook that I put together. I will link to it at the bottom, and you can find out a little more about it and decide if it's something that you might want to use if you're going to want to put together a shoot like this. It's got more info about the setups, but really what you're going to get out of getting something like this, because I've shown you the most important stuff in this video, really what you're going to get out of this is just kind of a handy flip book. If you've got somebody over who is doing some modeling for you, you can kind of just show her some examples and say, hey, let's try something like this. And this book will give you a lot of ideas. Okay, I think I said that we were going to talk about some of my favorites. All right, this one I really like. This one, I like that one. I like these. I can't really decide which one I like the most, but I like that set, and I like these. Look at that. I really like how these look very punk rock zine style, you know, just like something that somebody Xeroxed to put in a little homemade magazine. I dig this one, and I think this one's pretty nice. All right, so I'm a big fan of the one light portrait. I mean, one light portraits can be clean and precise, or they can be gritty and loose, kind of like these were. If you want to create a beautiful classic portrait, then have your subject sit for you. Really consider the pose, establish a nice Rembrandt or short light pattern, and you know, you're pretty much good to go. If you want your photos to look edgy but still tell a good story, then use a combination of experience that comes with practice, a really good model, and some hard light and strong shadows. Try that out and see what you come up with. Hey guys, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Click that like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe. Leave a comment. That's about it for today. I'll see you next time.